Hello, hello. Welcome, sacred beings. Welcome to Sacred Her Story podcast. Today we have Michele Campbell, and she's here with the Sacred Rebel Healer. And so, welcome, Michele. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited. This is a wonderful opportunity. Thank you.
I am so excited to have you here. Michele is an amazing hypnotherapist?
I'm a hypnotherapist.
Hypnotherapist, and she's coming in to share her story, her sacred story of her sacred journey. So, Michele, tell us a little bit about your background. Um, how did becoming a hypnotherapist came about? And anything, just your story, like your walk. Because I know you've been through so many things, and the road has not always been easy. So I want to capture that as well in this story, that it's not a cakewalk getting to where you are this time. It takes work, right?
Yeah. So I know when you ask for the story, it's like, okay, where do I start? But really, what really got me into hypnotherapy was my own healing journey. So a big part of my life was when I decided to get help in recovery and with my addictions and the traumas that I experienced in life. So I had the courage. That's why I call myself the sacred rebel, because it's someone who has the courage to really explore the darkness within and really want to make a huge change to come back into the true divinity and that truth within and explore, okay, what's my purpose? Why am I here? Like, why have I experienced all that I have? So on that journey of wanting to make some type of change, because I knew I could no longer live the way that I was living, I went to seek help, and I went to this wonderful recovery center where I was able to really connect back into my true authentic self. And there I received EMDR therapy, which is it's a little different than hypnotherapy, but it was a way to explore the subconscious mind to create healing, to begin to shift mindset and let go of old programming that was keeping you in a place of misery, in a place of suffering. So I was very inspired by the work that I was able to receive there, and that led me on the journey of wanting to do this work, wanting to show the world that there is hope, there is a chance to heal, and people do change, people can change. So make a long story short, when I did my 4 months of intense healing and getting recovery help, I looked into EMDR. And on my exploration journey, I found hypnotherapy, which is similar. It's the same type of technique. It's just used in a different way. And I found this school in Tanzania, and I decided to enroll. And now I've been working as a hypnotherapist, a clinical hypnotherapist at a recovery center. And I'm able to help people find their way like I received the help.
That's amazing. Can I dig a little bit more into your personal, because you said you dealt with addiction to heal yourself. You share about any of those addiction? I mean, I want this real.
Yeah.
Because I mean, there's so many kind of addiction you can deal with, but I don't know. I didn't know you back then. I know you as this amazing goddess now, who's just so connected and so intuitive. So what was this addiction, and how was it like, and how long was this process of becoming a hypnotherapist?
Yeah. Well, going back to my childhood is kind of when like my whole foundation was shattered. 6 years old, my parents are getting divorced. So my whole life started shattering to, oh, I'm not in this loving family unit. And now I'm alone, fending for myself at such a young age. So I remember that feeling of wanting to find belonging, because now I'm like ripped out of this family unit, and there's this struggle of going back and forth to my mother, my father, who have now created a new life with other people, with new children, which are my half sisters and brothers. And so I was always this little kid stuck in between. And so that's where my seeking, for belonging started at such a young age. And, I was just looking for anything and everything outside of that, because I felt so abandoned. And it led me to really resonate with the misfits, or, the other kids that were going through similar things. And so we were all in this seeking adventure together, not knowing what that is. We just wanted to feel loved and belonged and accepted. Well, a lot of that turned into addiction. And, we bonded over, similar traumas and difficult family issues. So that's where my experimentation went with drugs, and, just feeling, oh, I can escape. And getting older, that led me to just it led me to like the addiction of wanting to find something else, not knowing that I had everything that I had within me.
Right.
And that addiction lasted until I turned 18. And at 18, okay, I'm still seeking. I've never been able to get the healing that I needed, because it was frowned upon in my family. There's nothing wrong with you. You don't need healing. You don't need help, if that's a sign of weakness. So I was never able to get the healing that I needed.
Mhm.
So I married. I married at a young age. I met my husband when I was 15. We were both in addiction. Well, I ended up stopping. He didn't. And that's another story. But that was like a huge
Mhm.
toxic relationship that, I'm now in. But I stopped my addiction, and, I had my beautiful children. But that ended up in a divorce, and other things happened, and I went back to the addiction, drinking, just anything I could get for relief, because now here I'm a single parent trying to make my way, still with no healing tools, or even knowing that there's something available for me. And then when I'm 40, I think 41 years old, I decided, okay, a lot happened in between there. I think I'm going off,
No,
but
no, this is good. This is so good because it gives people a time frame. And
yeah,
and I'm listening and I'm hearing you're finding something outside of yourself to
yeah,
fill you, right? To feel full, to
yeah,
feel alive,
yeah,
to feel connected, to feel connected. And then you married young, which this is this is like a big part. You went through, you had children, you guys are both in a in addiction, caused a toxic relationship. And we know what toxic relationship looks like. It eats away at you. And now you're back into this addiction with drinking. This is all juicy stuff, because it's like it's not a walk in the park. You did not just say, I want to be a hypnotherapist and here I am and everything is great. No, you went through some shit.
yeah,
You went through some shit. Yeah. So you're 41 years young,
yeah.
and you decided to that was when you decided to be a hypnotherapist.
Well, I'm gonna go back a little bit. I'm sorry. I jumped ahead.
Oh,
So, now I'm like a fresh single parent. I've got two small children. I'm trying to make ends meet. I'm working in a daycare. to where I can bring the kids with me, but it's still not able to make ends meet. And so I decided, okay, like there was always this inner knowing that that I was meant to do something more. I was very sensitive to everything around me. Um, you know, I was really turned off by the traditional um, systems, right? I was never able to get the help that I needed from the societal systems that they have in place, right? So I was very turned off. I felt very abandoned again. There's my old abandonment wound coming up. So I decided I was very interested in holistic. So at that time, I think I'm like 23 years old. I decided, okay, I need to be able to make enough money to support myself and my children, as well as find something that I feel drawn to. So I decided to go to National Holistic Institute, where I got my degree in massage therapy and health education. And I created a successful practice for 11 years after that, as well as taking care of my children. So I felt like I had really accomplished something important in my life because I was helping others. But the only thing missing was I was forgetting to help myself. I was still this wounded child, single mother, stressed out, not receiving the love or support that I felt like I deserved in the world because I was in a whole different mindset. Like, oh, this all happened to me. You know, I was still holding a lot of anger and resentments
Yeah.
within, unknowing to me. I thought I was doing everything right, but I was missing myself. I guess I didn't feel a value, and it was starting to show in my life. I was starting to get the burnout. I was starting to feel defeated, and then I was starting to make worse decisions for the escape again. So then that's when I started drinking and, using things to take me out of my reality. Um, and during that period, I started doing other things that wasn't in alignment to my higher self, to my purpose here. And at that time, I couldn't do it anymore, and my kids had to go live with my mom. And then a full blown, well, it wasn't by my choice. It was my mother had to step in to take them because I was making poor decisions. And so that led me into this spiral of just, I didn't care. This life is happening to me. I'm a failure. And I went into really hard drug use, and a lot of it's a blur because of just the extent of it. And I ended up moving to San Francisco, and I was on the streets. Sometimes I wasn't, sometimes I was. I was doing some really horrible things that I'm not proud of, but now that my whole mindset shifted and changed, I've seen like, okay, this is all beautiful gifts that were given to me along the way. Like the people that I met in my addiction, the beautiful soul suffering, I had no idea that life was out there. So it was a huge opportunity for me to explore these unknown worlds, even though at the time I didn't see it like that. Um, and through that, I was involved in a almost fatal car accident. I was a passenger, but we were, under the influence. The driver was under the influence, and I ended up in the hospital for a year. And at that time, I was like in the deep, deep, deep darkness of my soul. Nobody was there for me for that whole year. I had to learn how to walk and talk again. I was blinded in one eye, and my hand was cut off. And so I, at the time, thought, oh my God, this is God punishing me. I couldn't take care of my children. I'm living this lifestyle that's awful. I'm doing things that are horrible. And I'm just not caring about myself. So I thought, oh, God's cut my hand off because of this. And I was so angry. Um, and then I just continued, like a year after I get out of the hospital, after now I can walk and talk again. I had good intentions. I wanted to stay clean. I want to try to get back to my children. And I had nowhere to go. So they placed me in San Francisco in a really bad area. And I lasted a week there of sobriety. And then like another few years went by. Then I started, the realization that, okay, something has to change. I need to make a change. And, I moved out of San Francisco. I knew that was a really bad area for me. I started connecting back with my children. And, we never really lost connection. It just, I wasn't at my best. Like I was always talking to them, but this time I was like, no, I need to be more present. I need to figure something out. And then I got breast cancer. And then
Okay.
so I know I don't see, I'm sorry, I'm all over the place.
No, this is I'm just like blown away by all this because we never got into this. I don't know this part of your story.
Uh,
Um, it's just fucking incredible because who I see right now is this amazing woman, and you have both your hands. You know,
I know my hand was, I know I forgot to say, yeah, after 9 surgeries, they put my hand back on. And this is part of my forearm here. So that'd take a piece of my forearm. I don't know if you can see it, but yeah.
oh, and you're still here. Okay,
It,
just real
my,
quick. I mean, it's just like shit. Like you've been through so fucking much,
I,
and the anger, the resentment, the feelings. I mean, I could feel it. I'm getting chills as you're saying all this. But how old were your children? Because I'm like, wait, I'm losing this because you're over here in the hospital for a year, and how fucking lonely was that to not have
yeah,
any?
so I hated my mother at the time because the way she went about it, it wasn't like, hey, can I help you or support you? It was, oh, you are like a fuck up. You are like, and so it goes so deep. So my mom didn't have custody of me. My dad did. And I told the judge when I was little, I wanted to be with my dad. So it's very deep, toxic relationship with my mother to where she used all these little things against me, that me being a single parent, struggling, at the time I was like drinking on the weekends. It wasn't affecting my children in a way that it was mentioned in court, which typically got them taken away. But that's all healed right now. And I don't want to get off, like I'm going all over the place. So
No, it's
where was I?
chronological. And life is a spiral. So I was asking how old were the kids?
Oh, yeah. So at the time that they were taking, my son was 4, my daughter was 10, and my son was almost 12.
Okay, so you had 3 kids.
Yes.
Okay, 12, 10, and 4.
Yeah.
And then, so they're taking for mom. During this time, you had an accident. You had to learn to talk and walk
Yeah.
all over again. And you're doing this by yourself. And I'm just like, shh, like, it's like right here, right? Like, just like in the heart, like just going through this by yourself. And then you were sent to a place to stay in San Francisco, sober for only a week, decided to move out because you knew that you needed to move on. Now we're here with you reconnecting with your children. You never really lost touch, but you were just going through all this shit, this whole process of stuff. And then you got breast cancer.
Yeah. So I was in San Francisco for 2 years in this little, it's called a SRO, single room occupancy, where I feel like they file people away like in these buildings like that, like I don't know, are drug addicts or on parole, things like that. So it was like a really bad environment. And I already knew a lot of people that I would do bad things with out there, like drugs. I was an escort. I was like doing like all of these like criminal activities, you know, to support my lifestyle because I did not care. I was so hurt and heartbroken and like it turned into like the anger, just into that lifestyle, right? So I explored the darkness for sure.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so so now it's like 2 years and I'm just like, this is not me. I already knew this. And so I had a boyfriend, you know, out there. And so like he was like, yeah, let's go. And we just packed up and like we took a train. We have no car. Like we took a train um down to the valley and just tried to wing it. You know, we're both still addicts. We're both like just doing things to get by. You know, I'm escorting, he's being a criminal. You know, it was definitely an adventure, but you know, and I've done so much healing around the shame and the guilt. And, you know, I look at it as like a really big gift that I was able to learn from. So now I get breast cancer. So now it's about like, I don't know, 10 months after I've left, or maybe even, I don't know. Well, I was diagnosed with stage 3 breast cancer. I had this huge lump. I had I have surgery, but I'm homeless at the time. Like so they don't want to let me do any type of, um, I don't know, medication, whatever they called it, medication treatment, because I had nowhere to go. But yet they wouldn't help me find any place to go, or yet did they have a facility? So it was like really another
Limbo.
confirmation that, yeah, I know the systems are messed up. There's no help. There's like another abandonment thing coming up.
Oh,
Yeah. So they ended up taking the tumor out of my breast. And I was homeless, sleeping in like wherever I could, in a broken down van with my boyfriend. At least I had him there. Um, but they said like I need to have chemo and radiation, or I I really am not going to make it. And so the only place I had to move out of state to get the help that I wanted. So me and my boyfriend, we decided to we got a vehicle and we drove to Las Vegas because that was the only place that was able to help me um, with the treatment, and they didn't care if I was homeless. So we slept in the car and like I was getting the treatment. But still, I was just so disconnected from myself. I wasn't able to hear the inner guidance, which I would have never done the Western medicine. So it almost killed me and it ended up in the hospital again. I know it's a lot. Did you know what you're in for, Sia?
you know what? Give it to
I'm
me.
sorry.
Give it to us because your vulnerability is
I'm all
just
over.
no. I'm feeling these emotions and I want to cry just because the abandonment, the homelessness, the feeling alone through this. It's like this is
Yeah.
dark, but then to see who you are now, like I'm like,
Oh,
this is juicy. I had no fucking idea you went through this. You're homeless, so you did the Western medicine,
yeah.
and then you got sick again on top of it.
Yeah. And so at this point, my uncle, who's an alcoholic, he decided to come to Las Vegas because he got Social Security and he was able to get us, like, we all together put in like money because I was getting, I don't know, Medicaid, some type of
State
assistance or
funding.
something. Yeah, something like that at the time. And so we all like rented a place together. But it was so toxic. Like my boyfriend was toxic, my uncle was toxic. It was like alcoholic, drug addict, and then I'm like here sick. So I wasn't still getting the support that I needed. And it was really difficult. And then we ended up getting kicked out of the place because my uncle and my boyfriend, they were just wreaking havoc. And so we moved into a little RV and the RV had no air conditioner, and we're in Vegas, and I'm coming back from chemo. Like all this, it was like really toxic. So during that time, I like started like listening. I don't know if I was just so like my soul was defeated. I was like hearing these like messages like, this isn't right for you. This type of intervention for your cancer is not right for you. So I decided, I got online and I was like researching. Like I feel a calling to go natural, researching. So I found this doctor named Dr. Sebai online. I read all of his stuff, and it was all about eating alkaline, and how if our body is pH'd and balanced, there's no way that we could hold disease. And it started resonating with me, and I decided, okay, I'm gonna go vegan. I'm gonna not go to my treatment anymore. I'm gonna leave this toxic man, and I'm going to leave my uncle, and they can do whatever. So I have no hair. I'm practically in a wheelchair, and I have AAA. I don't know. I had AAA. So I take my, because it's a broken down RV. And I say, okay, maybe if I use AAA, they could tow me back to California every 500 miles, or no, it's like every 100 miles, and I can get back there. I don't need these. I could go and I could find friends out there to help me. I know it's a lot. So I finally do that. It takes me a month to get back there. Right? I end up they'll only take me as far as Barstow. And so I'm like in Barstow stuck for a month, going through chemo, all that stuff. I'm sick as, and one day somebody's walking on the street. I'm by myself, and somebody's walking the street. I'm like, hey, do you have any drugs? And that's what got me back into my addiction again. And so I think that saved me at the time. It gave me like some relief in order for me to be able to get back to California all the way to, yeah. So that started that up again. And then I finally made it there, and I reached out to a friend, and they gave me a ride to friends, and I ended up, okay, I'm somewhere kind of safe, and I can start picking up the pieces. I'm like a mess. I'm saying screw you to the Western medical system. I'm gonna start listening to me, but still I'm doing this addiction. So long story short, I went to the doctors to get a PET scan out there. I established a new doctor, and I told them I no longer want their treatment, and I'm gonna start doing it holistically, which I was criticized. I was told I'm gonna die in 8 months. I was told all this stuff, but I trusted, like something came out of me, and I trusted. I was really feeling good about it. I was gonna change my life. And then 2 months later, my daughter was killed um, in a car accident. And I I just crumbled. Like it was like, God, I can't do this anymore. Like what am I supposed to do? And so I dealt with that, and I went into a deep addiction for 2 years. Just anything. I didn't care, and I told myself, nobody's gone through what you've gone through. You can do whatever you want to do. And it was all just a crazy blur. But 2 years after that is when I came to the realization that my daughter can see my life. She would not want me to be doing what I'm doing, feeling how I'm feeling. And I swear her spirit and my dad's spirit, because, oh, I forgot about this. Right after my daughter died, a year exactly, my dad died. And so he was the only person that called me every single day in the hospital, even if it was just, hi, this is my daily call, because he didn't really know how to show emotions. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye. Like that's how our conversation. So like we were close in that way because he raised me. I'm sorry, am I going, is it too much?
No, it's a lot, but I mean, it's fucking amazing because you, there's the whole challenge and roller coaster of stuff.
Yeah.
And there's the time frame that I know, you got to get going in soon, but I really do want to. I'm gonna have you on again because this is incredible, and your story just this will touch so many lives. I mean, what I'm getting is trusting your inner voice, and it doesn't matter when you start doing it, you do it, right? And so, your test is a test, and it's just incredible all the shit you went through. But still, you're still here. They said you got 8 months to live. You got back into drugs, and you
Here I am,
years.
cancer free. I'm sober. I have healed. Go ahead.
Yes, I mean, yeah, you're cancer. Okay, you're cancer free. So there's that closing with that. But what did you do? Like, how did that happen? So you went back to drugs. Did you just said, I'm going to eat alkaline while I'm on drugs? Like, what?
Yeah. Yeah. People would look at me like, okay, you're gonna smoke this meth pipe, but yeah, you can't eat this hamburger. And I'm just, yeah, you don't know me. Like, you don't know my story. That's helping me with my mental. This is helping me with my, like, I didn't have that mind-body connection yet. Like, I didn't understand, oh, maybe it's my emotions that are creating this havoc in my body. And maybe it's this unhealed trauma over here that's creating like all the dysfunction in my body. And so I didn't get that part yet.
Oh my gosh, this
But
is
I was trying.
yeah. Okay, this is incredible. So you're eating alkaline. Thank you, Dr. Sebi,
Yeah.
and still smoking the meth. We're not encouraging this.
I'm drinking.
We're and here too. I mean, it's just incredible. Like two important people in your life passed. So after 2 years, you felt your daughter's spirit, saw your daughter, and realized, what, she could see me like this, and this triggered something.
Yeah, well, through my addiction, I've had these connections with spirit that I was like, oh yeah, I'm high. Like, no, that's not real. Like things like that have happened, like through that I just brushed off, but it was so real. I was getting guidance all along. I was never alone. And the day that I decided to find some help, and now that I look back, I know, well, my dad died. My dad was the one that said, don't you ever tell anybody that you're not okay or depressed or you need mental health, because his mother committed suicide and he dealt with that growing up. And so he had this huge distrust of any type of interventions that has to do with mental health. So I always had that stuck in my head, like, oh, this is something bad. So I never felt good enough to do that. So I think after he died, my daughter died, then my dad died. That was at 2 years. I think like unconscious, I was okay. I can seek help. It's okay. And I saw this spirit circle. It was like a bunch of, I believe it was my soul family, or the Council of Light in a circle. And I could just hear them saying, like, it's like they took the phone and handed it to me. It's like they were working through me, like, because I don't even remember how I got there. I drove 8 hours to this place. I don't remember. I don't know how I got there, how I made the appointment, but it was the most wonderful place that I could ever think of going. And, you know, the spiritual teacher there, she's the director, she's believes in the Buddhist way. The one thing she told me that I know at that moment changed my entire life, and it's this: you chose your mother. And I'm like, what? No, you made that contract before you were even born to go through what you went through, because it was a gift of growth, of learning. And I went, that blew my mind. that blew my mind and changed my whole perspective on everything in my life. Everything now, oh, I chose that. I chose that person. I chose that experience. Oh, I see the gift in that. Like everything's a gift. The biggest life lesson I've ever learned, that every experience, good or bad or ugly, is a gift. And through that, I healed like this huge void within me. And it just set the stage for my movement forward. And then, I started opening up and softening because I was very angry. I
Yeah.
didn't I like I didn't like authority. I got in trouble in the beginning there a lot. Like I didn't want somebody to tell me what to do. They didn't know me. I was very, very, very hard. And so that softened me and opened me up to receive all the blessings there. And I learned about energy and the chakras, and yeah, just so much.
Oh my gosh.
I know there's so much more, but
There's so more. This is just part one.
okay.
Part one, because we're definitely doing a part two, because we didn't even get into the part of, okay, you got into hypnotherapy, but this is the backstory of how you opening up and everyone. Oops. Oh, Michelle is a gifted medium. So this woman has amazing gifts. And so this is something we can talk about more. But I feel like in this segment, the biggest thing is trusting your inner voice.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
You're never alone. You're never ever alone. And how you just said we chose this contract. So there's like a lot of juice in this. And just hearing the craziness that
And
you went through. Yes, please,
I
please.
just want to apologize for being all over the place. It's just kind of like that's like how I felt in that life. I feel like I'm in a new lifeline right now. Like that was my past lifeline, and it was just all over the place, and there was so much, and it's kind of hard for me to ground that in there. So thank you for sticking with it, and I
Oh no, it's
hope you're able to gain.
beautiful. It's amazing and beautiful in the fact that, life is not linear. And like I love how you said that was that life, and I'm in this new lifeline now, lifetime.
Yeah.
Because that one is how you learn and grow, experience. You can relate to so many people who probably felt like drugs was the way out because they don't want to feel, right? And you went through this experience, went through breast cancer, overcame that, and found your own method of healing by trusting that inner voice.
Yeah.
It's just incredible. And then now we get to restart and move forward in the next segue of where you are now, and here at this part of this healing of learning about the chakras and how to soften. And it's incredible. Please don't apologize. Don't ever apologize for your story, because it's just fucking amazing. I can't even think of any other word. Just I'm speechless by it, because you're still here. You're still here through all this.
Yes.
You're
That's it.
that you had to relearn to walk and talk. You know, it then it just blows my mind, because how many times do you want to just give up and say I'm done, I throw in the towel? But something you just kept on going, right? And you listen to that inner voice.
The inner voice, savior. Yeah, that whole other life, it was like my university, and I have a PhD in life experience. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So now I'm taking that degree and I'm applying it to, that was the purpose of all that, was now to give back. What were my lessons? What was my growth? What did I learn? Now I can meet people at a different level than, the majority. And that's the gift in that.
Absolutely. I agree. So anyone, if you're looking for an amazing hypnotherapist who has experience and can understand various walks in life, Michele Campbell is your woman. Her information will be in the bottom of this podcast. And is it okay? Is there any last words or shares that you want to share with us? We're going to have a part two. Just like, so
I'd love to come back to, talk about where I'm at now. That would be wonderful. Yeah, the hypnotherapy I do, it's an integrated approach with quantum energy as well. I believe like that's a huge part of it. So I'm different than the most clinical hypnotherapists that you might come across. I add all these different approaches and techniques with it, um, as well as just offering a safe, tender space and love. Yeah.
I thank you so much,
Thank
Michelle.
you so much, Sia. This was wonderful.
Thank you, thank you. The pleasure is mine. This is wow. I'm just blown away. So thank you all of y'all for joining us for Sacred Her. For she is sacred, highly exalted rebel. And this is to her, Miss Michelle, who said yes to herself and for sharing her. Thank you for just being so vulnerable in 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 sharing with us what you went through and sharing your sacred journey. For sharing your truth and your love, your sacredness. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.